And we are live, guys. Welcome to another live stream from the Three Girls in Love channel. My name is Joseph Darling. Today we are just taking a random video from the internet. I basically just searched for women and masculinity because, well, I just want to do a random video. I think it's more interesting to do videos from channels that are small because then you get like the full picture, you get the truth, you get very often a lot of transparency. And I've studied a lot of these case studies, if you will, in order to understand more and more and more about women. I've been doing this for years. Okay, we're talking 8 years. We've been studying female nature, masculinity, femininity, relationships, how to make things work, etc., etc. And that's what this channel is all about. Is about helping you understand what it takes to fall in love, the cause and effect of that, and also what it takes to stay in love forever and in the same man. So you don't have to continuously break up with the guy and then find a new guy and then break up with the guy and then find a new guy. It's unnecessary. You don't have to do that if you understand how it works and you lock yourself, you secure yourself a man of high value. But anyway, we're going to listen to May K. Hella and hear what she has to say about masculinity. I have not watched this video before, so it's going to be interesting. I don't even know
Hey
who she
guys,
is.
I'm Michaela and I'm a writer of YA fantasy, strong in anything that's Norse related, so Norse lore, Norse culture, Norse mythology, Norse blank insert. Yeah, you
Norse.
got it.
Okay, cool.
So this is going to be a bit of a different video from what you're used to on my part, mainly because I wanted to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. This channel is soon reaching 300 subscribers, and to me, this is a huge freaking deal. Mainly because I'm a massive introvert. Just to be able to share my love of anything Norse related with you guys and actually have people who care about what I have to say is just amazing. That being said, what I wanted to talk about was a bunch of videos that I've been watching, podcasts I've been listening to. You might have caught it yourself, Jordan Peterson discussing the place of masculinity in society, in modern society, and Bjorn Bull Hansen also has like a series of videos on that, which I will link in the video description below. And in a sense, it got me thinking so much as to like the role of men in society. And I know that some people are staunch feminists. I am an example, basically, of the aftermath of feminism in the sense that, you know, I do hold a doctorate in health sciences. You know, my parents were always very positive with their attitude towards women and education and all that, and I want the same for my kids. What I wanted to say with respect to that is that the best thing that a woman can get in her life is a good man. What does that mean exactly? Well, the feminist movement
Let's just stop there. The best thing a woman can get for her life is a good man. Absolutely 100% agree, because it would allow her to be protected. It would allow her to make sure that her financials are taken care of. Not that women need a man for those things in today's world. Maybe you do more than you realize, but mostly for her happiness. Okay, it's for her happiness that we need that women need a good man, because she'll always, we're talking generalizing here now, a woman who wants a man, okay, she's straight and she desires a man in her life. Of course it is critical that she gets a good man, because the opposite means that she gets a bad man, and that's going to create havoc into her mental health, her psychology, and everything around her lifestyle. Understand that women, like, I got a lot of heat for saying that women need sex more than men do, but there's a massive reason why I said that, and I can explain that in another video again. But in terms of this, women need a good man. Absolutely, because they're gonna need sex like continuously for the rest of their lives. So if they're not getting it from a good man, they're gonna get it from a bad man, which is gonna create issues, if that makes sense.
took form, took shape, and kind of like got its steam from the dominating, gender-crushing patriarchy, which I'm so glad that we've moved away from a lot of the stuff that just created this gender divide and whatnot. And it's thanks to the women, the generations of women who came before us, that we were able to do that. So I'm not spitting on on the rich heritage that we've had. But what I do think that we should encourage is also strong men within this strong female society. So
Okay, let's talk about this for a second. All right, so let's just understand history. History is filled correctly with I'm not saying that it was correct. I'm just saying that it was patriarchy in the past. That has been patriarchy for like ever since the beginning of time. Why? Because there was no birth control. Basically, men were trying to protect their women, making sure that they didn't have to provide for someone else's kids, right? And making sure that their woman was not cheating, making sure that the woman was doing as we're told, making sure that she was the vulnerable one in the relationship, making sure, okay, it was a lot of force used by men in order to keep their women in check. Also, in that regard, men very often, their biggest valuable were their daughters. Okay, so they very often sold their daughters in order for their family to survive. So there was a lot of lack of resources created this. That women had a lower state in society than what they have today. It's a bad system the way that it was practiced in the past. Completely agree. Patriarchy with force is horrible. Let's get that straight. And also at the same time, like, they needed to protect their daughters so as to not, sleep around with men because they didn't understand the consequences of bringing more mouths to feed to the father's plate. Does that make sense? So the father wanted to make sure that his women were virgins so that they did not mess up the family's future at the same time and possibly die in childbirth. You understand that that happened quite a lot as well. A man had to force in that current circumstance that he was in his ignorance. And there was just massive amounts of ignorance in the past. And men were feminine because they were emotionally unstable and not emotionally consistent a lot of the time. Now, were there men that were emotionally consistent and that understood female nature? Probably not understood female nature, but that were emotionally consistent? Yes. Were there men that loved their women, loved their kids, and loved... Obviously, of course. But patriarchy was a big problem. And it's continued for a long period of time until now we got the birth control pill, right? And things began to we had the women beginning now to get the vote, which was important and is important for them. And that has brought the society we live in today, which is now, in the last 50 years, feminism has gotten a lot of strong root in society, which is a good thing. Okay, let me explain that. Feminism is actually fantastic because it's leading us towards the truth. Because in the past, because of men's violence and forcing women to do as they were told, women kept all of their secrets inside. They were not expressing their emotions. They were not venting. There were bad things happening as a result of that. Okay, we want women to vent. We want women to express their emotions and to express the truth. Because how can we understand what's going on in women's heads if you don't tell us what's going on? At least your perspective of what's going on with you and your emotions. Right? So feminism was caused because men were forcing women. And because men were forcing women, women had to keep all of that crap inside. And keeping that inside made them and kept them emotionally unfulfilled. So we're moving towards the truth, okay? Eventually we'll get there. Eventually we'll get to this utopia, this amazing society where everyone's emotionally fulfilled, everyone's happy, and we're helping all those that are struggling to also get to that same level. Okay, we're gonna get there, but in the meantime, what has happened is that we've gone through from patriarchy and force, and very often capitalism in a bad way, capitalism exercised in a bad way, and then we've moved towards feminism, and now it is force from a governmental standpoint that's the problem. There's always been force from governments and from kings and from all that stuff, but a lot of the time people were free to do what they wanted as long as they gave a little bit to the king, like a tenth or something like that. These days, governments are expecting us to do 6 or 7 times more than what people did in the past. Okay, there have been horrible kings in the past that required a lot more, but very often there were revolutions so that those kings were killed and hanged. And do you understand? If they taxed the people too much. And slavery has been a huge part of our past as a human society. But moving on to now, we still live modern slavery by giving our time and our money to the government for them to waste it. And what has happened is that feminism very often votes for socialism and communism because they believe that there should be, explaining. I don't want to talk about politics right now, but this is important in terms of feminism because we're living still in force. Men are now being forced to fork over their money and their cash to the government for them to waste it in order for them to take care of women and children, etc., etc. So very often men these days are like, I don't want marriage in this setting because I'm getting married, but then she has an incentive to break it off. Because that's what happens very often as well. And women now getting more and more power in society creates a lot of divorces and a lot of issues. She's probably going to go into that a little bit right now. But what I'm trying to explain is that feminism was a good thing in the sense that it's bringing us towards the truth of what is going on with women's emotions. If there wasn't for feminism, we would not have the Three Girls in Love movement. And we wouldn't have the Men of High Value movement as we have it today. Because those thoughts, those principles, like 200 years ago, 300 years ago, people would have probably, done something to me and put me in front of a trial and told, given me the death sentence for sharing the things that I know to be true today. Right? So we needed feminism to bring us towards the truth of how things actually work. And so that men can learn how to lead women and children in the right manner without force, leading them in such a way that they voluntarily are following the man in the right direction. So I still believe in patriarchy as long as it is voluntary following the man and not by force. And that's possible because of the birth control, because of family planning, because of the things that we're learning now about the woman. So just this huge rant that I had there, just explaining, going through some of the things that she was saying. Let me just go 5 seconds back.
I think that we should encourage is also strong men within this strong female society. So
okay, yes, so that's what she was saying. Strong men within this strong female society. Not gonna happen. Okay, just understand that because women's emotions are so intense. What's going to happen is that men are going to submit. Why? Because they like women. They enjoy being with them. And if it's required for them to submit to women's intense emotions in order for them to have harmonious relationships with them, then so be it. And this is how you get the nice guys in marriages. This is how you get the feminine guys who are always submitting to women. And women are like, why don't you become strong? Like, why aren't you stronger? Why aren't you, like, you're so weak. Look at you. That's because we're encouraging the feminist agenda. And we're encouraging men to be soft and to be like women, to become hybrids. You won't become a strong man without massive amounts of discipline, massive amounts of motivation in order to drive you towards becoming strong. If women are becoming more and more masculine, meaning more and more uglier, that's what masculine is, really. Burdened, unhealthy, sick. Because that's the direction women are going in when they're becoming more masculine. Not their fault. Realize that on my channel, we always talk about this again and again and again, that it is not women's fault the way that they feel. Okay? And the direction that they're going is completely environmental. Completely environmental, and men are the ones who have caused it. How did they cause it? By their forcing in patriarchy in the past. If every woman was happy in their family relationships and the man was actually acting the way he's supposed to act in order for a family to work, the woman would never leave him or be upset with him or feel betrayed or feel this and that and the other for him cheating or him not providing or this, that, and the other. Do you understand what I mean? Like, it's all men's fault. We understand that. Feminism is men's fault. You can't blame women for feminism. That's ridiculous. Because they're simply going in the direction that their emotions are taking them. They're pissed at men, a lot of women. Okay? So they build up this strong female society, and over time, men are like, what the heck, blah, blah, blah. And they're becoming emotional themselves. like, and remaining in their femininity of like having to use violence and force and all that stuff for women to be suppressed, and women need to get back into, to stay in the home and to do this and that and the other. Not by force. Women need to do this voluntarily if they want to. But the only way that we're going to solve the problem is for men to step up and become strong. But that's not going to be in a strong female society. Do you understand what I mean? Like, feminism will not really be necessary. It won't exist in a world where men are taking responsibility and living according to nature, living the right way and disciplining themselves to become men of high value. If they're men of high value, then women can actually do what they want to do when they feel like it, as long as they stay within the parameters of what their man accepts in terms of their behavior. Okay, meaning, as long as she doesn't have sexual relationships outside of that relationship with the man, and as long as she enjoys that family relationship and she's loyal to him, and like, a man is happy, right? And if he's happy, then she's going to be happy because she's not being forced to do anything because he's leading her the right way. Does that make sense? Comment down below if you don't understand what I mean, and write more questions, because I'm talking to myself here and trying to get everything out on the table. But yeah, strong men in a strong female society, women will be allowed to do whatever they want. If that's what you call strong, sure. But if women are supposed to be masculine, trust me, men are going to be feminine. There's a polarity there that changes like this, always. And if the solution is not for women to become feminine, that's the second step. The first step is for men to become masculine, and them moving towards masculinity with a strong purpose. But the only way that you will motivate a man to become disciplined and to provide for a woman in this day and age is for a woman to accept 3 girls in love. Okay? Monogamy is not enough motivation for men to go out there and become strong and disciplined. It's just not. If you understand what happens in every single long-term relationship, it sucks, okay? Because the woman always loses attraction to her man in a relationship, and when she loses attraction to him, she begins to look with wide eyes open at all of his flaws, all of his weaknesses, and all of the issues that are in the relationship. And then the man is not going to feel emotionally fulfilled. He's going to watch porn, most probably, or he's going to find other women who are more interested in him. And then he's going to cheat, and then he's going to be like, feel bad about it, and guilt and shame, and then he's like, I don't want to be in this relationship. Or, worse, he'll be like, I'm so sorry, baby, and I won't do it again, and he's going to be all cryy about it, and she's like, ew, like, this is ridiculous, like, I don't want you anymore, you not only did you cheat on me, but you're also a weakling who sucks. Like, do you understand what I mean? So, monogamy is not going to cut it, basically.
Since the sexual revolution and whatnot, we gave ourselves this freedom of being able to choose between being domestic or being professional. A lot of things happened that we were not necessarily foreseeing, and by that I mean that emancipation of women is fantastic and it's necessary. And it's not because you're a girl that you're less able to think or rationalize or to study or to get an education or to provide for society and whatnot. I mean, it's thinking otherwise is completely ludicrous. But what we didn't factor in necessarily is that women like me who pursue a full-time career and who are also mothers have like double, triple, quadruple, I don't know. It's exponential, but we have a lot of responsibilities that we need to address.
Boom! Do you hear that? I like what she said. Double, triple, quadruple, exponential responsibilities. Do you as a woman want to have a career and be suffering in financial issues because your man is not motivated to go out there because he's disciplining himself every single day not to sleep around with other women if he's masculine? If he's feminine, he's gonna, decrease his financial, his sexual desire. He's gonna, like, basically cut it off in a way that, he becomes a girl. He's like, no, I'm not really interested in any sexual relationships. And that's what happens when a man becomes really feminine and loses all of his testosterone and is still in a relationship with you and becomes your best friend. You don't want that as a woman. You want him to become a man. You want him to be testosterone filled. You want him to have power. Why? Because it's the only thing that attracts you to him. He only becomes attractive if he has those things. And if he's not living according to nature and he's disciplining himself all of the time to stay within that box of monogamy, which sucks, okay? Like, he's not going to be motivated to financially provide for you, and his motivation will decrease his capacity. Like, he's motivated, he keeps trying, but he keeps failing because he's a woman, okay? He's emotionally all over the place and inconsistent. Why? Because polarities attract. The more masculine you are as a woman, the more you're going to attract a feminine man who's loyal, who's trustworthy, who's never going to cheat on you, who's always going to do what you want him to do, blah, blah, blah. But you're also going to be massively turned off for life and lose all motivation yourself. He doesn't have motivation to go out there and become rich because he's a socialist. And you're a socialist, right? And you believe that we should force people to give us free stuff. Like, do you understand? It's not how the world works. You need a man who believes in capitalism, who's fired up outside his brain to become rich, massively rich, so that he can luxuriously provide you with the riches of life so that you do not need to have responsibilities. You don't need to be a superwoman in Three Girls in Love, in this movement right here, because you've got your two best friends together at home taking care of the kids because you enjoy taking care of the kids. When you're feminine, you actually enjoy being around kids. The more masculine you become, the more you're like, no, I do not want kids, and I don't want other people to shame me about it, and I want a full-time career, and I want to become rich myself, and I do not want to depend on a man. Because that's what my mother told me, because her life was screwed over because of my dad, and also all the guys that I've slept with have screwed me over, and they blah, 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 blah. Masculinity equals burden. Burden equals more responsibility and more burden. And then that's going to exponentially grow, especially if you want to have a family of your own. Do you understand how all this works? You don't want responsibilities so that you can care about the small itty-bitty responsibilities you do have, which are the most important responsibilities in the world. Like, do you understand that taking care of kids, the next generation, it is the most important work there is in the world. Women, in many aspects, are more important than men. Okay? But okay, we're equal in the sense of value. We have different roles. We have different responsibilities. But the responsibility of taking care of kids, oh my gosh, it trumps everything. And we need to have men go out there and provide luxuriously in a way that actually creates motivation for them so that they're massively rewarded by their women as well for creating this wealth, etc., etc., if that makes sense.
And there's someone coming this way, and I'm talking to myself, and this is okay, right? The hardships of being an introvert right there. Hello. Hello. That's a big-ass dog.
Found a very quiet spot?
Yeah, that's a big dog.
Right?
Hi, sorry?
You've met me before, right?
I don't know.
No?
That's fine.
In my head, I wanna drown my soul.
So I'm not sure where I was before that. Where was I? So in terms of responsibilities, whether it be in the household or out in the business world, professional world, whatever, best thing that can happen to a woman is a man, a good man, a man who's not afraid to take his responsibilities, a man who's not afraid to embrace his masculinity, which is something that is thoroughly discussed in many of Jordan Peterson's lectures, and which is something that unfortunately doesn't seem to get as much value as it should. I came across a post on Instagram that had this retro looking picture of, you know, one of those like 1950s housewives type of painting. The person had captioned this picture basically saying that this person had nothing against the women who wanted to go back to more traditional household roles, and, you know, that it was all nice and fine, but that, you know, that to them this idea of domestication was equal to just absolute boredom, and, you know, it was like degrading. And
let's talk about that for a quick second. Why is being a housewife boring? Because women are social creatures. They want to be where the fun is. They want to be where their life is. They want to be with other people. And being with kids all day sucks. Like, believe it or not, like, kids are awesome, wonderful if you spend a little bit of time with them, or if you are with other women. together with the kids. Now that's fun. Like, women would rather than take care of their own kids alone in the home. They'd rather work in the kindergarten. Hold on a second. I gotta turn that off. Okay. So women would rather work in the kindergarten or a school and be with other people's kids than be with their own kids at home. Because there, at least they're with other adults and they're with other women as well. That's why Three Girls in Love is amazing, okay? You'll understand that it's never boring in the Three Girls in Love home where women are housewives, but they're housewives together with their best friends forever, going in the same direction and being fired up outside their brain because their man is out there luxuriously providing for them so that they can travel, so that they can do whatever they want with their time and their money. They don't have to worry and fret over not, paying rent this month, because that's ridiculous. Why would you worry about rent if you've got a man who's massively motivated because he's got 3 women and not many other men around him has that? And he's going to be fired up outside his brain, and if he doesn't provide, he'll lose them. Doesn't that create a fire under his ass? Like, do you understand what I mean? That's what the world needs. We don't need, we need strong men, but you're not going to get them in the monogamous society. Does that make sense? So, just explaining that, yes, it's boring to be a housewife in monogamy. It's absolutely horrific. It's lonely. They get depressed. And if they're depressed, they're not motivated. If they're not motivated, how do you think they're going to have capacity to do the responsibilities that she's talking about here? The double, triple, quadruple, exponential responsibilities that are on their shoulders. You're burdening women even more and more, making them more masculine, which is a man's fault. And that will, in turn, make the man even more and more and more and more feminine because it's his fault. And he's got so many problems because he's got her problems and he's got his problems. And then there's so many problems in life and life is a bitch and then you die. It's not designed that way, okay? There are 2 things that needs to happen. And it's one thing per gender. A very difficult thing that both genders do not want to accept in terms of what they want for their lives. But you know what they are. For men, it's the fact that they need to take all of the blame. They need to become leaders in the sense of the word and take complete ownership over all their problems, including all of their woman's problems, so that they are taking ownership and leadership and taking all the blame. That's a very difficult thing for a feminine man to do. No, the woman should take responsibility, and the woman's fault this, and then the woman's this, and that, and the other. No, it's your fault as a man, always. But obviously, I'm talking to the women now, but let's just say that, wow, wouldn't it be amazing if men actually took all of the blame, all of the responsibility, and they always improved on that responsibility. Oh my gosh, and became better and better and better and practiced constant and never-ending improvement according to what Tony Robbins says. That would be amazing. But the only way that men are going to take all of the blame is if there's sexual motivation involved. If there's no sexual motivation, if there's no emotional fulfillment from having beautiful women, not just one woman who doesn't have capacity or time to think about him 1 second of the day, because she doesn't in monogamy, and she doesn't want to think about him because he's yucky. He's a hybrid because she's masculine and he's burdening me and all that stuff, right? So you'll have the burden of the man, which is another burden on you as a masculine woman, but then you think that maybe it's better if I find a new man, and but that will also burden you, and it'll, you'll have the past of the man and the past, and then you've got the man in the future, and it's not working there either. Oh my gosh, okay? One man taking all of the blame. That'd be amazing. And then we've got the woman's side. There's one thing that's necessary there. It's not their fault, not their responsibility, but let's just work with me here for a second. The woman's most difficult task is to accept and to believe. If she doesn't have more than the desire to believe that Three Girls in Love could be the answer. Okay? Because monogamy is not going to cut it if we're going to create a more beautiful world. Why? Because this is the result. Have you seen how crappy the world is in today's situation? That's because of monogamy. That's the thing that's the root of all evil, because it's causing men to not be emotionally fulfilled. And if they're not emotionally fulfilled and motivated to do anything, they become fat, they become angry, they become violent, they become this, that, and the other, and they're not providing, right? They're not motivated. And so you get crap. And then you expect the government to pay for you because he's not doing it. And then you have to go out and do it yourself, right? A crappy world. You want men, a masculine man? You need 3 Girls in Love. He's going to be exponentially masculine. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be amazing. You're going to be turned on by him and be fired up outside your brain about him every single day for the rest of your life. Okay? But that's the hard thing for women, is accepting 3 Girls in Love, believing that it's actually, what if it is actually better? What if? And not only better, but the best solution for a family lifestyle. And then the man needs to take all of the blame. These two combined, wow, amazing.
I had mixed feelings about this post because it's more complicated than that, in the sense that I have 3 kids. Having those kids was the hardest moment of my life. Yes, it was punctuated by incredible moments of joy. I mean, just welcoming my first child to this world was like, I've never felt this kind of love in my life. Like, yeah, to me, this is where life began. Like, this is where love began, holding my child for the first time. But more than that, it is extremely hard to stay home, to be a stay-at-home mom. And people who maybe haven't done it, haven't experienced it, don't understand what that means. I mean, I did calls in hospitals, and that was hard. But harder still is being a mom for my kids. And this might sound difficult to understand, but when you have a child, a toddler, or even a pre-teenager, and having to be there for them and be a good parent, anybody with kids knows that being a good parent is tough, because sometimes it's got to be tough love, and it hurts you to do it, but you got to do it. It's about setting boundaries. And
okay, just quick thought there. It is hard to raise kids. She's explaining it now. She's like, work compared to this. Having kids is amazingly hard. But as she says, wow, love, the amazing emotion of having kids for yourself. They're yours. And experiencing life with them, seeing them grow up and become who they are. Amazing. And you having been a part of that, wow, right? But then the second aspect is that it's the other aspect of it. It's so hard. It's like being a parent is the most difficult thing in the world. Yeah, but does it have to be that difficult? Imagine if there was 3 mothers instead of 1. 3 mothers, all of them being focused and completely all about taking care of the kids and helping the kids to enjoy their life. Not forcing the kids to be disciplined, not forcing the kids to learn this, that, and the other, or else. Not forcing them, because forcing them is going to make them hate you, right? She's saying setting boundaries and all stuff. Yes, of course, some boundaries needs to be set, but it's so much easier to set boundaries when you're 3 women, because it strengthens numbers. If you've got 3 kids and they're running around the house and you're by yourself trying to get them to do things that you want them to do, you're not going to succeed very well, because they are overpowering you. You are outnumbered. Okay? The moment you have 2 kids, you're outnumbered. You're going to lose the battle on a consistent, continual basis as a mother. And if you don't know that, you haven't been a mother yet. And to have just 1 child is kind of like, it's sad, especially if he doesn't go to school. Now, if he goes to school, okay, he gets some social and all that stuff. But if he's homeschooled, which is maybe something that you want to do, you have to have more than 1 child, because he needs other interactions with other kids, right? So the moment you have a 2nd child and the 3rd child, it's exponential how overpowering those kids become. And suddenly they're the ones that are running the house and not the parents. You need 3 mothers. The kids need 3 mothers so that they can be happy and fulfilled at all times, because they've got the attention, they've got the adoration, they've got the love, they've got nutritious meals at the right time every single time throughout the day, and they're taken care of. Oh man, so beautiful. I love it. I love 3 Girls in Love because it solves all the problems. Will there be problems in 3 Girls in Love? Absolutely, okay? Of course. but the problems there are solvable and exponentially solvable because you've got 4 people solving them. And 4 people being massively interested in solving them. Why? Because there's massive amounts of attraction going on. As long as there's attraction and sexual fulfillment, there's going to be lots and lots and lots of motivation. If there's motivation, there's going to be lots and lots of capacity to handle problems. And if women are taking care of their designed role, which is to take care of the home and to take care of the kids and to have fun, that's it, then the man can focus on doing the harder things, which is not as hard as you think. To become a multimillionaire in today's world is not difficult for a man that's fired up outside his brain about what he does, and who's excited and who's motivated because he's got massive amounts of confidence from the 3 women at home. He can become a multimillionaire, and you will have luxury living in 3 Girls in Love. That's how it would work. Okay? And in monogamy, again, it simply does not cut it.
It's really hard, this tug of power, this tug of war that keeps on happening. Sometimes, you know what, you just want to throw the fucking towel and walk away. So as a woman with a career, as a woman with education, as a woman who has stayed home, I think that, again, the best thing that can happen to you is to have a good man by your side, to have a man who will be willing to take his responsibilities, who will be there to take care of his family, to be...
Yuck! Okay, now let me explain what I mean by yuck, and I'll probably should have let her keep talking. But understand that a woman who's in the home by herself and wants help with the kids, what does she need? She needs other women. She does not need her man. Because the moment she needs her man, he now has to return back home. Guess what? He's diversifying his focus. He was focused on his business, focused on building the exponential growth curve and being consistent, right? But now, oh, my woman has tons of problems. I need to rush home now because of this, that, and the other. I need to do the dishes. I need to come home and vacuum the floor. I need to, my wife is this and that and the other. She needs to take care of herself. And I need to, she also needs a massage and a spa treatment because, I'm not that good of massaging her and she doesn't like my massages. And so, blah, 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 blah. And the man has problems. And then the woman is like, oh, but you gotta, you forgot my anniversary and Valentine's Day and blah 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 and the birthdays and how could you forget and you don't care about me. Oh my gosh, do you know what happens in monogamy? It sucks. Okay, so if we understand that if you have 3 women and they take care of the logistics of the kids, they take care of the family and of each other so that they can bubbly talk to each other and solve a lot of small itty-bitty problems that are not important for the man to solve. Do you understand what I mean? There's so many, thousands of problems that can be solved in the home. But the man needs to be out there focusing on building his business, or else the exponential growth curve doesn't happen. Do you understand what I mean? And not only that, but the more time he spends with the kids, the more estrogen begins to build in his body. Okay? The more womanly he's going to become. And the hormones are going to reflect that. So he's going to become a hybrid. He's going to be somewhat masculine, a little bit, maybe. And then he's going to become feminine. And I thought we spoke about in the beginning that we want strong masculine men. It's not gonna frickin' happen in monogamy. Sorry to tell you, that's just the truth. It's facts, and that's just how men function. And there's probably going to be some feminine men out there who are maybe religious or whatever it is. Oh no, but I can do it, and I enjoy being with my kids, and I enjoy doing the dishes. Yeah, but you're going to be poor, and you're going to struggle if there's a financial collapse, and you're not going to be masculine. And if someone came in and intruded on your apartment or broke into your house, you'd be down in the corner scared like a little bitch. Right? I'm talking to the men now and helping you as a woman understand you don't want a feminine man. You want a masculine man. Even though right now there's been peace for quite some time if you're living in a first world country, how long is that going to last when there's a massive exponential financial collapse because we've been living on debt as countries for 50 flippin' years? I'm just saying, you need a strong masculine man, and monogamy does not cut it. Kudos on you if you've actually been around this video for this long and not turned it off yet, because yeah, that's amazing. But again, we're explaining now. She's now going to explain that it would be amazing to have a strong, good man who helps out in the home. It's not going to work, and if it does work, it's emotionally all over the place, and there's a lot of arguments because the man is not doing things the right way. He's not being safe with the kids, and he's forgetting this and that and the other, and how could you? So anyway,
part of the logistics of a family, to be looking out for the good of his kids, to be looking out for his wife. You can be a single parent and succeed, and I have so much respect for you if you are, because it's the hardest thing that you can do, to be a parent that's involved for your children, to be there for them, and to do it alone is so hard. So hats off to you if that's you. If you're a man and you're taking care of your family by yourself, if you're a woman and you're taking care of your kids, it's amazing and good for you. If you're two, that's even better.
yeah, if you're alone, single mother, single man, good for you? No, it's horrific for you, and it's also horrific for your kids. Why do you think we're growing up in a society now where the teenagers are becoming worse, not better? The next generation is becoming worse. A lot of them are becoming better, but it's how can I say this? The majority of kids are becoming better and improving, okay, and understanding women and their needs and their restrictions and all that stuff, and not, they're becoming better. But then you've got a few minority of people who are exponentially becoming worse. They're the ones that are rapists. They're the ones that are violent. They're the ones that are killers. The ones that carry knives to school and guns and all that stuff. And that are emotionally unstable. Guys, you don't want to have weapons, okay? They're few, but they're exponentially becoming worse in a society like this because of the family upbringing that they had. That's it. Okay, so, but the majority of people are good, so we're gonna eventually get to truth. The generations are becoming better, but society is becoming worse. Does that make sense? Like how it's progressing towards truth, we're getting there slowly but surely, but a few minority of people, because of their upbringing, are destroying it for everyone else, if that makes sense. So anyway.
The idea of kinsmanship, but also partnership between spouses is important, and that's why a strong woman is as important as a strong man in a relationship. If you feel like this talk has any relevance in your life, go ahead and leave a comment below. I would love to hear your point of view. Everybody's got a different experience when it gets to maneuvering through life with a family and whatnot, and maybe you've got your own opinion on masculinity and feminism and all that. Thank you so much for stopping by, and from the beautiful nature of Eastern Canada, I wish you all the best, and we'll see you next time. Oh, before I forget, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and go ahead and subscribe. Hope to chat again soon. Obviously, this outro has lasted way too long, but it's okay because I'm totally 100% awkward with that stuff, and it's all good.
So, she's absolutely awesome. Thank you so much for doing a great video. You can see that she has, of course, her masculinity is shining out, and it's like, go and subscribe and like that video. She's absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for the video that she made. And yes, we need strong men, but man, if we have strong enough men, we don't need strong women. Okay, we don't need women that become strong and muscular or have the ability to do tons of tasks that overburden them and that take over their capacity and robs them of their life. Okay, life was designed to be enjoyed. Life, like, that's why we're created. And to believe that life is so difficult and so hard and it's evil and there's so many bad things happening and blah blah blah. It wasn't designed like that, and it can actually be changed over time, not in an instant, okay, but over time, once you begin to understand how love works, once you begin to understand male psychology and female psychology and how to combine it beautifully so as to create an amazing family. This is the 3 Girls in Love channel. I hope you guys got some value out of it. Me going on some massive rants, but that's just how it is. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe and like, and I'll see you in the next one.